Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Health Made Simple Show. We're going to do a live Q&A tonight. So we got some questions that have come in, so we'll get those answers. Yet, if you have any, you're on Facebook, you're here live on Zoom, send your questions. We'll do the best we can to get the simplest possible best answer for you while we are live here tonight. So to start off, I'm going to chat a little bit about some clinical insights. And if you're new to the show or you've been here before and not sure what they are, the clinical insights are the insights that I have when I'm in clinic and I have one of those moments of go, wow, this would just be cool for everyone to hear or listen or to kind of experience, because there's so many things that so many of us share that we have that could relate, that many people could relate to. So although the first one I'm going to talk about isn't as much, but I wanted to share it anyways. This is just good. This is about, to some degree, this is about tribe. So this morning, by surprise, one of the first visitors I had this morning was an old friend / colleague of mine, old classmate. We're maybe a couple of years behind. I helped him early on in his practice, chiropractor, Dr. Pete Haginos out of, I believe Pete's in Cincinnati. So he's here on vacation. It's absolutely super to see him. When I first saw him, he just out of school, young man, eager to get after it, healthy young man. Now I get to see him married, 3 children, thriving practice, phenomenal, human being in his community, a figurehead in his community, and just doing awesome things in life. What I love the most about it is I'm very blessed to be part of this massive fraternity that we call chiropractic. And what's so cool is that, so Pete's probably just a couple years younger than me. He's probably 45, 40 years old, super fit, super strong, getting after it. We're just talking about the different workouts we have today. And it reminded me that tribe is important. So these are the men and women that I went to school with. And this was our mindset, that health was something that you lived as much as that you teached and practiced it. So this morning I had just a great reminder, and have another buddy in town that I should be having breakfast with tomorrow morning. And I'm going to see the same thing, just a young, healthy fit man. I say young, healthy, he's probably 49, 48, something like that. So I'm very blessed, and a little bit of shout out to all my chiropractors and colleagues, or really all my healthcare practitioners out there who are walking the talk. And because it speaks a lot when we do. It does not mean we have to be perfect, but it certainly does speak to the messages we're trying to send. And seeing Pete today was a reminder, I got to stay in my A game. These young boys are catching up.
I love when you run into people you've known for a while and you're like, oh yes, I gotta keep it up. I gotta keep it up. It's like a friendly reminder, but a little push.
Yeah. So he got into like competitive CrossFit, which is just this badass stuff. So it was really exciting to see him and all the wonderful things and changes that's happened in his life. So that was my clinical insight number one. Your tribe is important, and that's really my share of this about that the people around you are going to most likely steer the direction that you're going to go. They're going to elevate you up or potentially bring you a little bit down. So make sure that you're paying attention to who you're spending a lot of time and energy with. The second clinical insight is a young girl. I forget if she was 16 or 17 years old. I think she was 17 years old. And this is all about migraines. So anyone who has migraines, you have friends that have migraines, you have family members with migraines, record this part, send it over to them, do whatever you can. Hear me close on this, because this was a little bit of a bummer to see this case come into my office, but the outcome was absolutely phenomenal. So a young girl came into the office with her mom, and you could just tell, just one of these caring, loving moms who just wanted her daughter to feel better. Anyways, they come in and said she's had 16 straight days of a migraine headache, and they're on vacation, mind you. So here they are in a doctor's office on vacation, and they'd done, in their words, done everything, and someone told them to call us. I don't even know what they didn't even know really why they were calling us. It's kind of a strange situation. Anyways, they make it into the office. Maybe they thought they were going to get acupuncture or something. So, and sometimes I don't know exactly what we're going to do until it's game time. And so I'm having a conversation with the mother and the daughter, and she's in the middle of a migraine after an ER visit the night before. And they'd recommended that she drive back across several states to go back to this doctor's clinic and kind of admit herself for having migraines for almost into her 3rd week. Anyways, as I get into the history, she's had migraines for over 13 years. And I'm not going to go into
how, like 16, right? So 16, most of her life.
Most of her life, 16, maybe 17 years. And the moment I heard that, I figured Oh, they've done everything, because there's no, I'm sure everyone's recommended everything. Every doctor, everyone that wasn't getting results would then say, hey, maybe go over here, there's a specialist over here, or someone just has these other things. So tonight I want to share within this kind of a short section. I'm not going to dive into all the nuances of migraine headaches, but there are 3 things that every migraine sufferer must do. All migraines have a little bit different origin, a little bit different intensity, a little different ways that they show up in life. Some have auras, some don't. So there's a lot of different things, but there's 3 things I want to make sure that everyone has going on for them. And unfortunately, and I make sometimes an assumption that everyone who has migraines is doing these 3 things, bar none, because these are like the foundations of no matter what and why you have a migraine, these are part of it. So 3 things. Number 1, get yourself to a chiropractor, period. Get yourself to a chiropractor. I can't say that enough times, and get adjusted. And if they give you a little relief, keep going. Sometimes, Whitney, there's been times in my career, I've had people, migraine sufferers for years, in this scenario, 13 years, they give them one adjustment. And sometimes it's just one adjustment. We make a cervical correction, especially in the upper cervical area where the occiput and C1 come together. That's the first vertebrae in the base of your skull. And we make an adjustment there, and it takes pressure off the brain, increases the blood flow, it balances out, and boom, gone. Just like that. Years of suffering. I've had a migraine one time in my life, and I pray that I never, ever have a migraine again. So for all the migraine sufferers out there, I feel you. I know how awful it is. And that's why I'm saying make sure you get to a chiropractor. I think that is very, very sound advice, because we've seen so much success over the years with migraine sufferers. So do that bare minimum. And I'm not just saying just go one time. So you might need you might have, an old injury or something like that, or misalignments that repetitively come back. So that's number 1. Number 2 is this. Magnesium should be just on the front part of every conversation with every one of your doctors, is that you're using some type of very good type of magnesium. We use one in our office called magnesium lactate. There's other good ones out there, threonate. There's other good ones out there that can help cross the blood-brain barrier, that get into the tissues easily. Probably not some of the junk like that you might find in a supermarket or something like that. But make sure you get with a healthcare practitioner that is using vitamins and minerals and nutrients and herbs as part of their practice, and they'll know what kind to get you. That is an absolute must for everyone out there that has any challenge with migraines. So number 1, chiropractic adjustment. Number 2, absolutely going to use magnesium. And number 3 is a fish oil, specifically DHA, EPAs. And these are, so think of your omega-3s. 50% of your brain is made of fat. Most of the triggers for what take place when you have brain pain, really, it is something to do with an imbalance of the fat. You're getting a little dehydrated in the brain. And if we can restore the good fatty acids back to the brain, it can be an absolute game changer. In the beginning, often you're going to need to take about 2,000 milligrams of the fish oils, which, usually I recommend about 1,000, maybe 1,200, 1,500. But if it's migraine sufferer, you're 2,000 milligrams of fish oils, especially the DHA, the omega-3s, and magnesium, chiropractic adjustment. The good news is 13 years of suffering. So I saw her on Tuesday, come back on Friday, and they're gone. So imagine
that is so magical. Wow.
It is. And I tell you what, for the chiropractors listening to this, they're kind of like, yeah, we see this all the time. This is what happens, especially if you incorporate the other, again, it's not always just one thing. It's often a couple things. That's why those 3. Now, if I went a little farther with that list, I went number 4, sugar's got to go. Number 5, absolutely have to hydrate. Blown away how many migraine sufferers are dehydrated. That should be right up. I kind of think of that as a no-brainer. And then if I was going to throw a number 6, you got to get rid of the gluten. Anything that's pro-inflammatory is going to inhibit blood oxygen and nutrients to the brain. And hence, that's going to create a headache. That's kind of like, part of what a hangover does. So, that's my clinical insight there for anybody that has migraines. You have a friend, not even future enemy. Don't let them suffer like that. Make sure that they hear this out and make sure that they get an opportunity. There might be other things. And listen, there are a lot of medications out there, a lot of very, very strong medications, but none of them cure it. And oftentimes, A misalignment that is removed will cure it. Oftentimes, a magnesium deficiency that you replenish will cure it. Oftentimes, a brain that doesn't have enough fatty acids and you give them those omega-3s, it will cure it. So these are legit root cause solutions.
That's really cool how the chiropractic profession allows you to open up to these ways just to like help people. So when you talk about seeing like other people who are in your chiropractic tribe and how they're taking care of themselves, I know like some of that impetus comes from like the desire to take care of others. It's really cool.
It is, and I think that goes so hand in hand. You know, I had a nice conversation today about service, of how fulfilling service is. The conversation was really about this gentleman who comes in is one of the clients that we see, and he's been coaching youth soccer, and how fulfilling it is to serve, and how much he's seen a balance in his stress in his lifestyle by just having an outlet to serve other people. And I think that's one of the gifts that most of us that are in the healthcare system, that if they're truly practicing from their hearts and they're really passionate about their art that they use, that they really become in service, not to the system, but to the human that they're helping. And when that happens, it's really beautiful.
It's such a cool interaction. And with that in mind, Bart, we've got a couple questions from our folks that they are dying to get some answers to. Should we get started there? Little Q&A?
Yeah, let's dig in. Let's see what we got.
Beautiful. Okay, so I know you must have heard this question at least 75 times today. What is the level up challenge, carnivore style? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Of course I can. So for those of you who haven't heard yet, we're doing our level up challenge again. And we've done this in the past. But this year, so it's a 30-day challenge. We're kicking it off next Monday, April 3rd. We're kicking off, and there's coaching program. So I do a group coaching. We're going to have a private Facebook group. I get in there every Monday. We walk in and talking us through this. So this year, we're doing a carnivore style. And I am super, super excited for this. Everyone's heard about carnivore probably at this point. Some people has reservations, but there's also, for many people, there's a little voice in the back of their head going, man, I wonder what would happen if I did that. Listen, folks, jump, get in the game. We're kicking it off Monday. There's still time. Make sure you put some kind of link there that they can get themselves registered. And I would say this, without spending too much time on it tonight, in the event that you're thinking, well, what would a carnivore diet do for me? I would say there's probably 3 things, probably many more than that, but 3 or 4 things that are probably stand out. One, weight loss is almost always a big part of what happens when you go to something like a carnivore diet, where you're literally just eating amino acids, which are proteins, and good healthy fats. So number one, and one of the reasons that happens, and it's very, very simple, we are essentially eliminating almost all carbohydrates. So you really, really become very efficient with what you're bringing into your body. So you end up with higher nutrients with less consumption. And that really helps that whole calorie in, calorie out formula. So number one, weight loss. Number 2 is down-regulating inflammation. This is my favorite reason for doing it. There will be no other time in your life that for 30 days you do as in-depth of a elimination diet as this will be. Because literally, we are eliminating everything but animal proteins. So for that being said, there's so many things that create inflammation. It takes all the confusion out of it. Yes, there are some plants, there are some vegetables, and there's all that other crap food, all those other things. We're just going to eliminate it for 30 days. And so many of the results that I see are results. So weight loss, of course, acne going away, balance of hormones, skin conditions clearing up, pain, literally just joint pain, just getting rid of joint pain by doing a solid elimination diet. So, and that's what really carnivore is going to make us do. We are going to eat animal proteins. Doesn't mean just all red meat, but that's part of it. So we can eat chicken, egg, fish, sardines, liverwurst, rabbit, bird, whatever you want, as long as it's an animal protein. And the cool thing is that's truly the most obvious thing that humans need, is things that are very much like us. And what I mean by that is, so animal proteins are made up of essential amino acids, and they have 8 essential amino acids that make up a protein. That's exactly what the human body needs. And that's exactly what we're made up of, which is different than plant proteins. And listen, I'm a huge fan of plant proteins. Yet their proteins are of different use for a plant than it is for an animal. So the reality is there's a likelihood that we probably should be or could be eating a fair amount of animal proteins, and receiving a lot more benefit. So weight loss, inflammation, and gut health. If we do the elimination diet and we just get rid of all the junk, most likely your gut's going to feel amazing. And you know, it's one of my favorite things to talk about. You change your gut, you change your life. And that's the reality. So if you're out there, and again, then there's many other things that benefit, like skincare, healthcare, you know, literally your hormone balance, so many different things. But if you have that little voice wondering, man, that sounds good, I wonder if I could do it, you can do it. And I'm going to coach through. I'm going to make sure, you know, people can do it. We're going to give food lists, but that's not it, Whit. So so this is the carnivore part of it. It's carnivore style, but the level up challenge really consists of 3 things. So the goal is, by the end of April, you're a better human being than you stepped into April at. So we're literally going to level up how you move, how you eat, and how you think. I'm keeping the other 2 semi-secretive because I don't want anyone to judge and be like, oh, that'll be too hard, or that'll be too easy. I don't need that. I just promise you this. In the end of 30 days, you'll be a better human being. It's cool. So if you want to join us, awesome. Still a couple of days to do it. I'll be doing it with you, just like I usually do with some of the programs. Some of my staff will be doing it with this. And I'll tell you what, it'll be fun at bare minimum, and having the experience. And I think this speaks to anything. Before we judge something that would be really, you know, we judge it from the outside. The way life works is that our experiences drive us to our better self, always. Some of our experiences aren't awesome. Sometimes we have to go through hardship and pains, and this is not one of them. Yeah, there'll be some hard stuff to do during this level up challenge. But when we have experiences, and what if, just for example, one of the young ladies that joined the program was talking to me today, and she said, you know, I'm joining that. I keep hearing online how the carnivore diet is amazing for autoimmune conditions. And she's not wrong. There are literally groups out there with thousands of people who are literally that are autoimmune doing carnivore and getting unbelievable results. And listen, this flies in the face of traditional medicine, if you want to call it traditional, not up to speed, not up to date, you know, clinical kind of experiences and clinical research and up to date research, but it flies in the face of traditional, you know, maybe red meat is bad for us, whatever. So there's plenty of bountiful opportunities and benefits. And if you want to be a better human being going into the summer and you want to challenge yourself, love to have you.
I love it. And it's so hard to keep the secrets part of this like powerful stuff that we're also layering in there. I'm really trying hard. And I have to say this for our level up challenges, something else that I love about it is that we do it together. So you actually become part of this community. So it's trying a new thing and you've got like a whole crew, a tribe with you to do it.
Yeah. And and that's a great point, because really, Whitney, there's so many things that we know how to do or what to do. The reason we don't do them, there's only 2 reasons. One, there's no accountability, and that's what a group provides. So listen, everyone listens to this right now knows to exercise and eat good. The reason we don't do it regularly is there's no accountability. And then the second part is we might not have an accurate strategy. And I will definitely make sure that we have an accurate strategy of how to do this and what, you know, make sure the parameters are good and make sure that they're safe and everyone's doing it properly. Yet those are the 2 things. If you don't have a strategy, like what am I going to do the month of April with my health? If you don't have a strategy, it's like flip a coin. And it's so often, this is what I hear. And I love the conversations I get to have in clinic every day when people say, well, you know how it goes when it's your birthday, or, you know, so we're in vacation area down here in Florida. So it just started last week when people start to say to me, well, we have visitors in town. You know how it goes when you have visitors. And I said, no, I don't know how it goes, because I know how it goes for me, but it goes just like it normally goes. And I understand 100%. So I'm poking fun out of them a little bit, but I'm in a place in my life where I no longer let those things interrupt my pattern of, you know, just doing the best that I can. So that is where pushing ourselves a little bit, or having a little bit more discipline, or having a group to lean on, because listen, we're going to have many excuses as time goes by. And one of the realities is that we're not getting younger, right? And not that age is one of the, you know, well, I guess it is one of the factors of how, you know, life is going to be in the future, but it's really how we're aging. And every now and then we do have to hunker down. So if you're listening this far about this, I would say this: You can ask yourself, when's the last time I hunkered down to a defined set of rules when it comes to my health? And what it could be about how you move, how you eat, and how you think. You said, I'm gonna work out 5 days a week, or I'm going to only eat, or I'm going to eliminate all, sugar. I'm going to only, sleep, or I'm going to sleep this much. So if you haven't done that in a while, that's how you get experiences. That's how you learn what your body needs, what it doesn't need, and how to level yourself up. And hence that's the level up challenge.
Amazing. Hope to have you all with us. All right, Bart, question number 2 from the crew. Does sound wave therapy help with arthritis?
Yeah. So, but before I answer that, I'll probably tell them a little about what sound wave therapy is. So, sound wave therapy.
Yes, it's such a cool modality, and I know that you've been using it too.
Yeah. So it's new to our office, new to our clinic. What have we had it 6 months now?
Something like that.
Something like that. But it's definitely not new technology. It's phenomenal technology, and it's the different manufacturers call it different things. So it could be named sound wave therapy, it could be named shock wave therapy. Try not to use that name, it sounds a little brutal. Some places they'll call it soft wave therapy. They're all essentially the same technology, and it's phenomenal technology. The application is very simple. It almost as if you could imagine someone getting an ultrasound where you have this, we'll call it a wand, and there'll be a kind of a lubricant that you put right on the skin, and you wave it over that area. And sometimes you hold it in very specific areas. And imagine a moment like almost like a submarine sending out a sound wave, right? A sonar. And then if it just goes through the water, it just kind of increases circulation, it creates increased flow, and it'll do that in the tissues of the body. But if it hits another submarine, it bounces off of it. Sound wave therapy, which, and I'll get to the answer about the arthritis in just a moment, when it travels through the body and it comes across connective tissue that is beaten up, maybe there's scar tissue, maybe there's abnormal tissue that is dehydrated, is broken down, old fractures, aging skin, whatever it may be. Anywhere where it can break up that connective tissue, that sound wave goes in there and starts to break it up. As it starts to break it up, it elicits a stem cell response. And Whitney, this is absolutely fascinating technology. So we're looking, we have so much emphasis now on stem cell therapy. This sound wave therapy is going in and creating this remodeling experience for the body. So it breaks up that scar tissue, and it's eliciting a stem cell response. And what happens, what's beautiful after that is that where we have scar tissue, where we have arthritis, remember arthritis is really a description of inflammation, that's the itis, and arth means joint. So arthritis means joint inflammation. So if you have abnormal joints, you have degenerative joint disease, you have arthritis, you have any of those descriptions, you have old scar tissue, you have lipping and spurring, amazing results with them because it breaks up that connective tissue. It breaks it down and it starts to remodel it. I've had the first hand use, I've used it myself multiple times, essentially why we bought it. So I can, the best I could heal up my meniscus and my knee. And again, I've talked a little bit about that here in the Health Made Simple show about how I was told I definitely can't heal. You can't heal a torn meniscus. Well, my meniscus is fine. Again, last week, 12 rounds, full out kickboxing sparring. I know I probably shouldn't be, but it certainly lights up my mind and my body. And I don't even consider what took place in my knee. It took me a little while to heal that. And I did some other things. It wasn't just that sound wave therapy, yet amazing, amazing results. So to answer your question, does sound wave therapy help arthritis? Amazingly so. It really is. And I rarely will put things that really tout them like that. So, but the results that we're seeing, and sometimes, listen, folks, this is the way it works. So if you come to my office, beautiful, we'll tell you this. If you go to other offices, just understand this is how it shakes down. When they do the sound wave therapy, let's just say you have arthritis in your wrist or in your thumb or your knuckles or something, in your elbow, you have tennis elbow, golfer's elbow, all the above. This is great. Plantar fasciitis, all of these things is fantastic. When that sound wave is going over that area, when there's connective tissue that is bound up, and it's really, if you're watching this video, you can see my fingers bound up. There's supposed to be blood flow, nutrients, and oxygen moving through here. And there's also nerves that get entrapped in that scar tissue. The sound wave goes in there and breaks this up. Well, when it's breaking up, it's not so comfortable. And it can actually be a little bit uncomfortable. Here is the cool thing. If you can tolerate some of that discomfort, you'll elicit a faster healing process, which is pretty cool. You don't have to be in agony or torture. And so as long as you feel it, especially in that when it's really like in a scar tissue situation, if you're feeling it, it's working. So absolutely fantastic.
So it sounds like a temporary discomfort. There's no injections and there's no surgery, and it helps to heal you.
Yeah. And I'm going to go far as this. It's about as safe as anything I see out there. It's considered a class 1 medical unit, which is the same thing as a Band-Aid. And there's very few things you can say that. So yes, we can go over the spine. You can do it if you're pregnant. You like it's all of these things. It's safe. And that's why it's so fantastic. So if you're not here, Google someplace, you're looking for soundwave therapy, soft wave therapy, shock wave therapy, and there's probably some other names for it. Usually we recommend anywhere from 1 to 2 sessions a week. We do that probably anywhere for about 2 to 4 weeks steady, depending on what you got going on. And the beauty is too, is when you're done that therapy, the body's still in a healing process. So you've elicited those stem cells and they're still working weeks later, usually up almost to 8 weeks. You're still in that repair mode. So you can get back to using your body, and actually the using it is usually, advantageous to helping those joints or whatever it may be to heal up properly.
Awesome, friends. Well, if you want to reach us locally, you know where to find us. I'll drop our number in. Bart, another question from the Q&A. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
The doozy, is food hangover real?
Food hangover. Oh, it's absolutely real. And
Food hangover, yes.
food hangover is real. And in fact, I would say this, I think it's important that we really start to pay attention, so that people pay a little closer attention to how frequently they're actually having food hangovers and food reactions, if you want to call them, versus a lot of other things that are being blamed. So let me give you an example. If you could have bloating, indigestion, pain, brain fog, depression, anxiety, joint pain, neuropathies, numbness and tingling, blurred vision, all of these could be a result of a food hangover. You could have nausea, vomiting, decreased energy. All of those could be as a result of having foods that are coming into our body that are creating abnormal cellular reactions. So when we bring toxins into the body, I'm going to try to keep this as simple as can be. We have all these what's called these little receptors. And think of those baseball gloves on the cell. If we bring toxins into the body, you go out and let's just say that you go to a local restaurant, you got really yummy food, which I'm classifying different. Yummy and healthy food are two different things. And in that yummy food, you have, let's just say, I don't know, let's say you go to sushi, right? Right? Fantastic, right? And then you got yourself some salmon, which happened to be farm raised, toxic food. You had yourself a little soy sauce, which has MSG in it, and it has high fructose corn syrup, and it has soy in it. So we're talking about 3 massive disruptors to your endocrine system, but also to those little receptors. Those baseball gloves get full, and therefore they're toxic, and you can no longer fit in your vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that you need to be a healthy human being. So you plow all these things in there, and the next day, your body's not working right. And that's part of the food hangover. And that's why those symptoms could be everywhere. Unfortunately, I think food hangovers are completely misdiagnosed, and we need to pay more attention to nutrition in general. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One, there's a good chance that some people are experiencing food hangovers every day without knowing it, because they're eating the same food. They might have a bowl of ice cream every night, and they wake up and they think they have chronic sinus allergies. They think that so it might go like this. You might have, say, gluten one night, right? And then obviously you're a little inflamed, you have a little runny nose in the morning, and then maybe you have a stressful day. And in that stressful day, you work really hard. When we're stressed, folks, listen, we're all human. Stress is uncomfortable. So when we're uncomfortable, one of the signals is to eat carbohydrates or sugar, because when you have carbohydrates or sugar, they elicit a little dopamine effect, and our stress feels better for the moment. So it's very common that then after a stressful day, it might be a glass of wine for some, it might be a beer for some, because it gives us that moment of pleasure. But then unfortunately, the food hangover starts again. Now, the next day we wake up, we're fatigued. And now, as a result of this food hangover and those receptors being blocked, I know I'm diving in deep here, but this is important. I want to go all the way here. Now, all of a sudden, we don't have good neurotransmitter communication. And this is as real as it gets, because this is the leading cause of depression and anxiety. And every depression and anxiety case is food driven. I promise you, it's nutrition driven. So we see so many people moving more and more toward these mental disorders, if you want to call them that. I think they're just nutritional disorders and stress disorders that we're trying to medicate with foods and with alcohol, et cetera. But they're really part of this big thing I would throw in there and let's call them their food hangovers that are down regulating human function. So is the food hangover real? Absolutely is real. How do we figure it out? Well, one great way would be going to do a food elimination, right? Eliminate all the crap and see if you don't become and I mean this in all reality. See if you don't have less pain in your body. See if you don't handle stress better, because when you have a stressful day and you go home and you have that glass of wine, I understand it. I've heard it for 26, 27 years now in clinic. I need something to unwind with. The bummer about that is this. You will get the sugar spike, you will get the dopamine effect, and then you get weaker afterwards. Now, the very following day that you're going to have the same lifestyle, you have the same family, you're going to have the same coworkers, the same job, and now you're weaker, not stronger. You can handle that stress with less aptitude, and that's real. And then the next thing you know, we have a bunch of issues. And I don't joke about this because this is the slippery slope. Now we have other issues, and then we start to diagnose them, and then we get on medications, and then we become a fraction of the human we once were. So all of that being said, is food hangover real? Absolutely. How do you know if you have food hangover? Get rid of all the crap. Do it for 30 days and see if you're not a different human being.
Would be a powerful line to draw in the sand. Bart, what is one step that our listeners can take towards becoming superhuman?
So tonight I'm going to say, if you want to take one step, join us. Join us in the Level Up Challenge next Monday. Level up with me. Let's just take this. Let's take it all to another level. Let's continue to be a great voice. Let's continue to be great leaders. So let's challenge ourselves a little bit. Join us for the Level Up Carnivore Style next week. It's April 3rd. I'm normally not in self-promotion mode yet. I will tell you what, I wouldn't promote anything like this if I didn't think that you, me, all of us wouldn't be better human beings at the end of it. And I'll tell you what, it'll be fun.
And it will be fun. Guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight at the Health Made Simple show.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Keep doing your thing. Keep sharing out. Keep spreading love. And, of course, continue to take deliberate action for your mind, your body, over wellness. Be all be awesome.